Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Alright folks, so the Kilmar lie is being exposed and the media narrative, the Democrat narrative I think is more accurate, well it's officially collapsing. You know, it's obvious we got all these Democrats who are trying to make this political stunt here to attack Donald Trump, and they're all playing stupid frankly. Oh, well I don't know if Kilmar Abrego Garcia is MS-13.
President Trump says that some of Abrego Garcia's tattoos signify that he's a member of MS-13. In 2019, police alleged a confidential informant claimed that Abrego Garcia was an active MS-13 member. His wife and his attorney deny that, of course. Can you say with absolute certainty that he is not, nor has he ever been a member of the MS-13 gang? And did you ask him point blank?
What Donald Trump is trying to do here is change the subject. The subject at hand is that he and his administration are defying a court order to give Abrego Garcia his due process rights. No evidence linking Abrego Garcia to MS-13 or any terrorist activity has been presented to the court.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into the details because the whole purpose of our court system is for them to adjudicate these things.
But since you were the one person to have met with him, you didn't ask him?
I didn't ask him that because I know what his answer is. What he told me was he was sad and traumatized that he was being in prison.
Well, I don't know, there's not enough evidence. We haven't seen evidence to suggest it. I mean, seriously? How much more evidence do we need? The left keeps moving the goalposts, and clearly the media is just running cover. It's almost as if all logic, all reason, all ability to critically think and analyze evidence is just being thrown out the window to defend this illegal alien, this wife-beating MS-13 gang member, just so they could have an excuse to attack Donald Trump as a tyrant, just so the Democrat machine and the media complex can go on and on and on with another orange man bad narrative. It's absolutely sick. But as more time passes and as the evidence continues to stack, boy, are they looking absolutely stupid. I'm sure you know exactly where I'm going with this. As the media continues to sow doubt in Kilmar Abrego's alleged affiliation to MS-13 and gang ties, as they continue to pretend that there's been no significant evidence presented, well, probably the most significant evidence has now been presented. Holy moly, this is damning. A court document of Kilmar Abrego's current wife's ex-husband, who has multiple children with Kilmar Abrego's wife. Well, this document shows that he told the courts that he was worried about his children's safety with his ex-wife because, quote, her current husband is a gang member. In other words, he's directly calling Kilmar Abrego Garcia a gang member in a court of law. It's another bad day for the fake news media hustlers. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on here. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks. So it seems almost as if we've reached Hunter Biden laptop levels of delusion when it comes to the media in this Kilmar Abrego case. They're trying so hard to pretend as if there's no evidence that he's a gang member. This is basically what you're seeing when you turn on the mainstream media.
Why do you think President Trump was so fixated on demonstrating that tattoo on Abrego Garcia's knuckles, purportedly, according to ABC and others, photoshopped? Why was he so intent on proving it was not?
Because the administration, it follows in this overall strategy where the administration has tried to turn this from a legal argument to an immigration argument by continuing to accuse Mr. Abrego Garcia of being a member of MS-13. The evidence that the government and law enforcement relied on for that has been the subject of scrutiny from a federal judge. It relies on an informant. It also overall relies on these tattoos. The president previously posted on social media a photo of Mr. Abrego Garcia's knuckles, and it had symbols on his knuckles and appeared to also then have a sort of translation on it. Now, while some say that those symbols are representative of MS-13, we have talked to many law enforcement experts that have said that tattoos solely are not enough to justify identifying somebody as being a member of a gang. That being said, the scorecard that ICE uses, that we've obtained, actually puts a lot of points on whether or not somebody has tattoos.
It's beyond parody. CNN wants you to believe that the Trump administration just made an assumption based on weak evidence, just pulled the whole thing out of thin air. there that this guy was a gang-affiliated illegal migrant, but clearly that isn't the case at all. And let's just walk through the actual facts, because apparently journalism in the mainstream media doesn't exist anymore. You know, there was an interesting part from that CNN clip where he said this.
The evidence that the government and law enforcement relied on for that has been the subject of scrutiny from a federal judge.
Oh, well, the judge wasn't convinced by the evidence. He was still trying to figure it out. Really? Because from what I understand, we had two federal immigration judges both independently review the Kilmar case and both signed off on deportation orders specifically citing gang affiliation. Then, of course, we've got his tattoos matching MS-13 symbolism. Then there's a trusted confidential human source that identified him as a ranking MS-13 member. He was also arrested in a car with an MS-13 ringleader wearing gang symbolism in MS-13 gang territory. He was also caught in a human smuggling incident. And then add on top of that, he had a prior domestic violence charge while living in the US illegally. So there's clearly a whole lot of evidence suggesting that he should be deported. He should probably be at the top of the deportation list. But that, of course, isn't enough for these fake news journalists. And now to make matters worse for these lying scoundrels, we have this. A newly surfaced court document where the ex-husband of Kilmar's wife, a man who clearly has no political motive, and he wrote this back in 2018, he wrote a handwritten statement warning the court that Kilmar Abrego Garcia was a gang member and that he feared for the safety of his children. Not Kilmar's children, but his kids, because he has children with his ex-wife who's now currently Kilmar's wife. We've got this document in the Circuit Court for Prince George's County in Maryland, filed on August 20th, 2018, motion and affidavit for an emergency hearing. Comes now the self-represented plaintiff/defendant and moves this honorable court to set this matter in for an emergency hearing on the custody/visitation/support for reasons as follows. The undersigned party is acting to safeguard the children who are now in the physical custody of Jennifer Vasquez Sura. Jennifer Vasquez Sura is this woman that the media keeps promoting. And so basically this was an emergency hearing where her ex-husband was attempting to get custody of his children. And the claim says the child/children are in serious danger at this time. He claims that she tried to end her life and that she left the kids with an 11-year-old to take care of them, and that he is afraid that his kids' lives are in danger because she is dating a gang member. How much more evidence do these people need? I mean, at some point, it's got to be enough. At some point, the compounding effect of all of this evidence has to be enough to convince people. You know, one piece of circumstantial/direct evidence in isolation, sure, is one thing, but everything compounding all together? I mean, come on. How many of you have 6 or 7 instances of evidence all pointing to the direction that you're involved in gang activity? We're not stupid, but clearly the media thinks we are, and now they've locked themselves into this embarrassing corner where they're stuck defending an illegal gang member with a violent record, all to own Trump. It's frankly disgusting, and actually speaking of trying to own Trump and ending up looking like a complete and utter moron, we gotta talk about this Trump interview with ABC, where the interviewer with a straight face brought up the whole Trump photoshopping MS-13 on Kilmar Abrego's hand tattoo.
He wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute.
Well, wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was photoshopped. So let me
That was photoshopped. Terry, you can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. I picked you, Terry. But you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture. We'll
and you think it was Photoshopped? Well,
here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine, sir.
Terry,
I want to get to Ukraine.
No. He had MS as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't there,
the
but they're there now, right?
No,
but they're there
in
now.
your picture.
Terry.
Ukraine, sir.
He's got MS-13 on his knuckles.
All right.
Okay?
Well, we'll take a look at that.
It's you do
We'll take a
such a
look at that.
disservice.
We'll take a look at
Why
that,
don't you
sir.
just say, yes, he does, and, go on to something else?
It's contested.
Yeah, apparently slapping Times New Roman font as an annotation that explains the meaning of the tattoo is now photoshopping to deceive the public. Are you freaking serious? This is what they're running with now? Absolutely brain dead. I mean, how is this real life? How is this guy a journalist? Clearly it's an annotation. Obviously it's not part of the tattoo. But of course, just as I stated earlier, it's all about having something against Donald Trump, making him look bad, even if you make yourself look like a complete and utter fool in the process. They're not even pretending to be journalists anymore. And the media wonders why their credibility is tanking, why nobody watches them anymore. Well, it's simply because guys like me do a better job presenting the evidence and actually presenting all of the findings and the evidence. And all we need is a little desk and a microphone, an internet connection, and of course, a little bit of intellectual honesty. Holy frickin' moly. This hoax ought to be over. The mask is off. The media is totally wrong on this one. And clearly they're willing to sacrifice your safety, sacrifice the truth itself to protect their precious little narrative. But it's all fallen apart. Kilmar, Abrego, Garcia, all the evidence suggests that he is a gang member, or at the very least gang affiliated, which really is the same thing in the end. He's affiliated with MS-13. He's an illegal migrant with a deportation order and a criminal history. There's only one thing to do.
Adoctrinamiento. Afuera!
The Alien Enemies Act of 1798 is clearly applicable on a flight straight to El Salvador. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.